Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to SevTech Ages. So, since the last episode, I have done a bit of exploration. If we take a look in here, I actually have 2 Charm of Keeping 3s. It really didn't take that long. On the 3rd maze, like, not even halfway through it, I had enough charms. And then I went ahead, the 3rd maze, I went ahead and ran through it, and finally came across the maze breaker. So, I actually did it a little bit safer. I cleared out the TNT on one side and then went up over the top and just looted the chests. So we got a maze breaker. It has Fortune 2, Efficiency 4, and Unbreaking 3 on it. And this is all the loot that I got from the mazes. Anyways, I also spent a bit of time in the Between Lands. I actually finally got not the ring. I didn't get a second ring, but I did get all the lore notes. So that is done. That is 100% done. We have all of those. And then over here we have the discs. I'm still missing 4 music discs. Is all I'm missing. Those can come from the scrolls, so hopefully after today we're going to be setting up a mob farm. And I'm hoping that we'll have enough white hearts. That's the main thing, is like white hearts and then sulfur. But I've got a decent amount of sulfur now. I'm starting to run low on white hearts. It does eat through life crystals really, really quick. And then if we pop over here, I ended up moving the table that had the fig on it because I've got a bunch of figs now. And I put the talisman on that table in here. And then if we take a look here, I mean, look at the trophy room here. There, I mean, I went ahead and doubled these up on this side. And then if we take a look inside of here, I mean, there's more weapons, more swift picks. That's extra notes. That's just random equipment. And then we've got, like, look at all the amulet sockets and extra rings and stuff that we've got. Not to mention I do carry, like, a ring of power on me. As well as a ring of ascent and ring of summoning. So, and then in these chests I have some extra swift picks and stuff because I just don't have space for them. So, I'm working on getting these things out of the way. They're all about halfway filled. I could probably cut down on them a lot. But anyways, today we are going to be heading into the hunting dimension. And we're going to be doing some stuff there. We're going to be doing this in a couple phases. First up, we're going to go in and we're going to try to just get a little safe area set up. Is our first goal. So we'll start with that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to need, I think, 3 sticks. Because we're going to have to make 3 stone swords. And then I've got some cobble here at the ready. And we'll get dark oak wood. So we'll get ourselves 3 stone swords. And we're going to put these in there. Surround them with just wood. And we'll get hunting dimension frames. And we're going to want to go ahead and get 3 crafts of this. And we got the Hunt or Be Hunted advancement, which this is actually from Age 1. Right, yeah, that's the last advancement in Age 1. We still have to do the strainers. We may get to that today if time allows. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's go ahead and set this up. And I am going to need a vanilla sword, which I'm going to try a couple of these, because Valinite swords or something might work. But the hunting dimension, I'm actually going to set up the portal for that right in here. I'll just break that off. And let's go ahead. This is set up just the same as like a standard nether portal. Just like that. And then we can okay, Tinker's Construct Sword works. We can right click it and there's our hunting dimension portal. Woot. Okay, now before we go in, there's a couple things that I want to do. First up, actually, I need to go get life points in my soul network. I'm out. I'm totally out. I was in the Between Lands and I ran out. So I started taking damage every time I was trying to cast Sigil of the Blood Lamp. So, and I started bringing this out. Oh, and I made a to-do board. I almost forgot about that. I did make a to-do board that is loaded up with stuff. We have animal pens, finish the Between Lands area, the totem area scenery, farm bridge cleanup, the bridge understructure parts, the second watchtower. There's going to be a bunch of them, but this one I'm actually going to be building over on the road near Wega's base. The dock, the bird wing bones, the bird face, the warehouse doors, the second ascent ring, that's what I was working on. The strainer area, the second totem elevator, the blacksmith walls, the bird totem details, the mob farm, connect the road and the next tier runes for the blood magic area. Which is going to be fun. It's going to be a while before we can actually utilize... Well, actually, I think in the next age we'll be able to make the next tier of the blood altar. And it'll probably be about that time that we change over to mobs instead of self-sacrifice, I think. But we'll see. I'll go ahead and sacrifice, and give me just a second while I get our life points built up. I don't really need it to be full, but I need a decent amount for using our Sigil of the Blood lamp. So, I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, and one other thing that I would like to get is if we take, let's see, Weedwood, Crag Rock, and a green Detritus vial, we're going to get ourselves a Repeller. I do want this as well. This thing is quite handy. It's quite handy indeed. And then we're going to want to get ourselves a vial of Byaris. Doesn't have to be full, but being filled is quite useful. Okay, so now we're ready to go into the hunting dimension, I'd say. I'm not going to pop a potion before we go in. I think we'll be alright. Maybe. Or do we want to go ahead and pop a potion? Yeah, let's go ahead and pop an elixir of healing, actually. So that way we have regen when we enter. Wrong portal. But this would come in handy in case we do start taking some damage. There we go. And we can step into here and we can hold shift and it'll teleport us. And here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do first, we're going to set down our Repeller. We're going to right-click some Shimmerstone into that. And then right-click our Byaris into there. And you'll notice that we get a little shield that kind of pops out. Okay, and then what we can do is it... no, it's not shift. Put that Shimmerstone back in there. There we go. If we right-click it, you can see it expands the radius. And you can see the little dome is larger around it. And basically what this means is no mobs are going to be able to enter this area. And, oops, not Void Sigil. I want Blood Lamp. No mobs are going to be able to enter this area. Also, projectiles are going to be reflected when they hit this area. And the larger that we have it, it's going to increase fuel usage. But that's fine. Because we only need it for a second here while we set up a little safe area for ourselves to basically spawn into, more or less. I'm actually surprised there's no mobs around here. I'm just going to go ahead and go on a lighting spree just so... Yeah, see, there's some skeletons. Let's see if we can pull them over so you can see the Repeller in action. It's really cool, actually. I mean, quite useful for setting up a safe area in this dimension because, of course, there's a lot of mobs that spawn up around here. And we can still shoot our Sigil of the Blood lamp through here, but it seems to be directed just the way that we came in at. Yeah, come here. See, look at that. He's going to kill himself with his arrows. Okay, and if he tried to enter here, he wouldn't be able to enter either. Oh, but he still can fire through. That's interesting. I don't think he'll be able to enter this area. Yeah, so he gets knocked back if he tries to enter. But his projectiles, I guess since they're magic, they can fire through there, but that's fine. Just take him out real quick. Okay, so I'm going to want to light up... Well, I guess first up I should build like our little safe walls. So we're going to spawn in right here. You can see the Byaris is starting to drain on that. I've got it in a decently large little area that it's repelling. So, and I hear an Enderman somewhere. Who is this guy? A fallen knight. Oops. There we go. You are dead, sir. Alright, so anyways, we're going to build out and just kind of block this off with like a little indoor space. I'm actually going to have this build, it's just going to be cobblestone. It's not going to be anything super elaborate. Let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 out. These zombies are really wanting to get in here. Too bad. Alright. I brought a bunch of cobblestone with me, so it's a lot of mobs trying to get up in here. But this actually isn't too bad. This isn't too bad, especially with the Repeller. Like, this is crazy easy. Alright. I wish that guy up there would quit trying to shoot me, but that's fine. Now, mobs can still spawn inside the repeller, so want to make sure and get everything lit up. We're going to stop running the repeller in just a minute anyways. It's going to be running out of fuel before long. Now, if I was to set it to like a smaller, like I said, a smaller radius, it's going to last a lot longer, but... blue creeper there. But since I have it at such a large radius right now, it does burn through the fuel at a decent rate. So, but we don't have to worry about arrows or anything while we set up this first little area here. I really didn't need that potion. That potion was just wasted pretty much. Okay, so we now have a safe spot within here that we can kind of hide in and use as kind of a forward base. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the repeller, and we'll get back our shimmerstone. I did waste the Byaris, but I'm not too worried about the Byaris. And then the mobs are, of course, they're stuck outside our walls. So we'll go ahead and invite them in. Okay, so now I'm able to fire these out, and so I'm going to light up the surrounding area really nicely, because I actually don't want mobs spawning around us, except for once we get the actual farm set up. So I'm actually going to go ahead and light up a decent ways out around us, is the next phase for this. So I'll be back here in just a minute once I get this area, you know, decently lit up and everything. Okay, we have a fairly large area covered now. If we pop up, I mean, you can see light runs around this in a very large circle. I'll probably continue lighting up a little bit, but that should be good. I don't think we'll generally have, if we're standing inside this room or, you know, near this room, I don't think we're going to have mobs really spawning. So it's fairly safe at this point. Okay, so then what I want to do is, right now we've got it out 5 blocks from the portal. And so then what I want to do is I want to come out a bit further. We're going to go, let's see, 1, 2. Okay, that is 20 blocks between that wall and this. And then we're going to do our F9, and we're going to find a good chunk boundary right over here. This would be the next closest chunk. And we're going to use this. And then what we're going to do is, let's build a wall around this chunk. And I want to surround the entire chunk, the entire 16 by 16, which is a little cobblestone wall for right now. And then we'll have to bring it up and all that. Which actually, we're starting to move into darker territory. Let me light this up a little bit. We got karate zombies. Which is ideal that you kill those quick, because those little orbs that come out, if there's other karate zombies near them, it actually buffs those up. And they start doing like special attacks and stuff. But later on, we'll be able to use those red orbs, like those. And I think they're called ancestral spirits. It's from Better with Add-ons. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and clear out all this grass that's in here. Okay, so there we go. We have a full chunk, and I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off. And then I'm gonna have to bring this up. But before we do that, let's see. Well, let's go ahead and build it up a little bit. And this first one we're going to be using for, let me see, do I have any options for like dark glass at the moment? I don't think so. Probably got like tons of junk just from being in here. Kept getting jumped by toxic witches and their demon cats, which, you know, not too difficult. I just pull their demon cats back and then just kill them. And it seems to do the trick. I'm actually going to have to break some of those blood lamps once we get all this set up, but that's fine. Anyways, I'm going to build this up a bit. And right down here, I'm actually going to make this floor level. But I want a big box. Okay, I have opened this up. Actually, I could pull off that, make it even more open. Eventually, we're going to have more like a courtyard. But I'm going to kind of ease into that. Actually, did that remove a blood lamp? I think it did. Yes, okay. But I've got the box built, and I've got this just kind of open. I'm probably going to put a trapdoor on the top of this. And I'm probably going to come through with the slats. If you recall, there's these vertical slats, and I'm thinking about using those as windows through here. Eventually, just to kind of spruce it up. I'm not going to go crazy with this build. But if we come through here, we now have our big chunk, and it's 4 high, is what I built it as. So we've got a big 16 by 16. Now we're going to pop back into the world, because I need to make a few things. For actually setting up this mob farm. And we're going to have multiple mob farms because one of the beauties of the hunting dimension is you can actually change the biome type. That's why I've got it segmented into a perfect chunk, because when you use a moss item, you can actually change a given biome within that one chunk within the hunting dimension. Sadly, it only works with the hunting dimension, but you can change it with that. And I'm just going to throw these in these little junk chests. I've got just tons of just junk on me. And I actually don't need the repeller. I am going to be using repellers, however, for decor. I'm just going to throw all this into there. I'll sort it later. I'm working on going through these chests. But I'm going to be setting up these repellers, like, just around, because they look really cool. They almost look like little lanterns. So, we'll put one, like, right there, you know. So we kind of have these, and I'm going to use them just around as decor. I don't know for sure that one will stay there. Maybe so. I feel like it's kind of hidden. Maybe put one like right up there, you know. Anyways, we're going to be using a bit of those for decor, but I kind of wanted to use one for what its intended use is, which is repelling mobs. Okay, so we're going to need a couple things. The first thing I'm going to get is I'm going to get a load of Symarite hoppers. Ideally 16 or 17-ish. I have 109 stacks of this wheat wood. It's insanity. I've actually got stacks over, or 20 over here. I'm going to go ahead and make 19. It's not like I can have too many. Of course, you can use standard hoppers, but Symarite hoppers are just super cheap. If you spend a whole lot of time in the Between Lands, like if you want to see how much metal I have from the Between Lands, just to give you an idea. And keep in mind, I barely ever mine. And if I go mining, it's just like live crystals, and then like occasionally I'll mine Valinite. Just if I spot it. But I've got over 4 stacks of Valinite. I'm actually capped. I have to put an upgrade in this because I have like another 5 stacks of Octane. But I have a full 32 stacks in here, and then 24 stacks of Symarite. So, Sulfur, I'm close to 8 stacks at the moment. But doing those dungeons and stuff, you stock up on metal so fast. There we go. There's 19 Symarite hoppers. They're so much cheaper than the vanilla hoppers. It's quite bizarre, actually. Okay, and then next up, I'm going to want to get a chest and also some levers as well. I want to get 16 levers. Okay, so we got our hoppers, we've got our lever. I'm also going to want a chest. And I imagine we're going to upgrade this chest as well. Let's see, what are our maximum... we got the gold chest. Would be, I think, the biggest one that we've got. And then I'm also going to want some conveyors. There are, or not, it's slime... Oh, what's it called? It's from Cyclic. Oh, you know what? It's age 3, not age 2 when you get those. Whoops. Okay, well, I tell you what, we can still do it. It's not really a problem to do this. It's just going to be a little bit different to set up than my original plan. I was thinking those conveyors were age 2 and they're not until age 3, which, that's alright. It actually comes out to be cheaper this way. It's a little bit different. So we'll change it, later on we'll change it over to conveyors. But this setup, we're not actually going to be making, we're not going to be getting Enderman. Originally I was going to be setting up for Enderman, but I'm going to have to use water channels, so that's fine. Plus, I think what I want right now is Between Lands spawns, anyways. But another thing that we are going to want is these spikes from Cyclic, powered by Redstone, damage on contact. We're going to want 16 of these, and they require iron bars and stone pressure plates, which I actually should have enough. There's 32 stone pressure plates. A little bit more than what I need, but that's fine. And then I've got enough iron bars, actually, from Twilight Forest, from doing those mazes. I know I've got a fair few stacks of those, in fact. It's that. And there we go. There's 20 iron spikes. And then, in addition, let's see. We could also do punji sticks. We don't really need them. Let's get ourselves just a couple buckets of water, I guess. Once we have the slime channels, it'll be a little bit better. So as soon as we hit the next stage, we'll just change it over. It's no biggie. So we'll just get ourselves a couple buckets of swamp water. I like swamp water because it still has the flowing effect. But then in addition, it can be infinite. You know, you put it in a 2x2 and make infinite. And then one other thing that we are going to need is going to be... Oh yeah, I need to upgrade the chest too. I'll do that in just a second. And then we're also going to want to get ourselves some of this moss. So this stuff is just moss stone with saplings around it. You can also craft it with leaves around it. You can also craft it with vines around it. I would like to get this one here, but we need end stone to do that. So we just need the moss stone with the saplings is what we need right now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get ourselves creeping moss. You get 4 at a time, which is kind of nice. So we can do this for, you know, 4 different biomes. And then there is our gold chest. And we're only going to need one of these mosses for right now. And then what we're going to do is we are going to pop into the Between Lands. As of right now, there's 3 mob farms I'm going to eventually be setting up. Probably fairly quick as well. The first one is a Between Lands farm because I want to get white hearts. I really want to have like infinite access to white hearts, which means, you know, infinite item repairing, infinite item scroll breaking down, whatever. I also want to get a Darklands biome farm going, so we have shadow gems. And then I would also really like to have some kind of dimension or biome that can spawn Enderman. I believe Darklands can actually spawn Enderman, so I don't think that's too big of a concern. But there's the guy that I really, really want. I'll go ahead and kill him, just for old time's sake. That anglerfish jumped up out of the water and is just flopping around here. Actually, since he's spawning in this biome, we're going to go ahead and just shift right-click here. And you can see we got a Swamplands Hunting Dimension moss. You can shift right-click on any dimension. Also, some of them are craftable, like the end dimension is 8 end stone, which we don't have end stone. Ideally, I would love to have an end dimension for getting our end dust. But we're not going to be able to get that. However, the hunting dimension, if you just have like a plains biome, you're going to get a lot of endermites. So realistically, we can also do that, which we will. But I'm not going to worry about that right now, since we don't have the slime conveyors. It's not really a big deal. I was thinking that they were an age sooner. But in truth, we're going to be hitting age 3 probably towards the end of the week, is kind of my guesstimate. End of the week, maybe the beginning of next week, we'll see. Okay, so I think we've got everything that we came here for. So let's go ahead and pop back over to the hunting dimension. And let's head over here. I do have like a cave right over there. I think underneath that mountain that I'm going to have to pull up. But I'll get that later. It's not really a big concern. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and make us an infinite water source. So we've got that. Because we are going to need a bit of water for this. And then, let's see. First up, I want to put down our iron spikes. These are going to go right here. All the way across. And then on the other side, that blood lamp's going to have to go anyways. So I have to pull all those up before we activate all this. And then I'm also going to want one setting right here. So go ahead and open this up like that. And then I'm going to need to build this out a little bit because I need to have access to these walls, actually. So I'm going to build it like this, I think. On both sides. And then we'll just open this up. There we go. And there we go. We're going to go ahead and just put these down just straight along through here. And this is going to give us a way to apply redstone to our spikes. Because what happens is, you'll notice that these spikes are kind of pulled in right now. If we activate one, make that sound, and you can see the spikes are out. And then if you get close to these, you'll take damage. And that's true for mobs too. Now one thing we could also do is do like punji sticks across this. But like I said, I think I might actually put slats through here. Because slats actually block light even though they're see-through. So I may end up using those so we have like some windows available to us. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, this is going to be our killing area. And then we're going to take our hoppers, and we're going to put these just directly up underneath our spikes. And then we're going to have one that's open, and I'm thinking we'll have it kind of pump out, we'll say like right here. Okay, and then we'll have a chest. Let's see, if I had a hopper, that lever's not going to shut off that hopper, is it? That could be a concern. I may have to work around that, actually. Yeah, it is blocking the hopper, though. Okay. It's not a big concern. I can work around that pretty easily. What we're going to do then instead is we'll just pull this off. And I could make an upper or something like that, but I'm just going to drop it down to the floor. And we'll put a hopper right there. That's why I made extra hoppers anyways. And then what we're going to do is we are going to feed all the items into those hoppers. Just kind of send them down along the line. And then on the other side as well, the same thing. Okay, so item collection is set up. And then what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to run water channels. And so what I'm thinking is we're going to have mobs spawning. And this will be the same whenever we set up our conveyor lines. But we're going to have, you know, mobs spawning down along through here. And then out of curiosity, if I run water into these spikes, does it break them? Because I'm not 100% sure if it does or not. Oh, it actually will not flow. That is awesome. It will not flow into those spike spaces. Okay. Honestly, this little system we may not ever change up. Just leave it as water. Might as well, if it works. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to bring out little spawning platforms for our mobs. And I am going to have to deal with, of course, the water's not going to flow this entire length. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to raise the back sections. I can't think of much. I believe whites are actually a 2-block space tall mob. Or no, they're 3-block spaces, aren't they? Well, we'll deal with that in just a moment. But then what we're going to do is we're going to set up our swamp water and have that start flowing down. Let's see. I mean, I could drop everything or raise the back section a little bit and have it set up more like this. So that way the water gets funneled down. And of course it's... Oh, that's still too short, isn't it? Okay, let me get a little bit more water here. I think this will work. I think this will work nicely. And then we'll put water there. Okay, so there we go. We have like a channel that runs all the way back. And then we'll have it so, you know, if the mob spawns right there and he steps off, then he'll step onto that. You know, we'll leave that there. But most of the mobs are going to get sent down the channel and then get sent over to here. Because as we know from being in the Between Lands, the mobs in the Between Lands are very, very... Like, they just turtle up when they enter water. They're just like, I don't know what to do. So this should work pretty effectively for us, I should think. Okay, so we've got all of our channels done. And now one other thing that I would like to do is I'd actually like to pull up this ceiling right through here and on over. And I want to raise it by 1. Just so that, you know, I'm Timberwolf? I just wanted to kill one. Just so that we can have white spawning, basically. By the way, the Timberwolf, he should just drop wolf pelts. That's why I didn't worry too much about looting him. But I just wanted to kill one because I've never killed one before. And this design should work for most things. I mean, if you're doing like a Darklands biome, maybe make the spawning platforms 2 wide instead of 1 wide. Because the Shadow Beasts, I believe, are a 2-block wide mob. And then, of course, if you're using Enderman, ideally you'll wait until like maybe the next age, so that you know, they can be moved. Because water, of course, they're not gonna take with water very well. Okay. So the ceiling is officially raised. And now if we pop over to here, we still have to apply our moss. So let's do that. So this creeping moss right here, swamplands, what we're going to do is just right over here, we're going to take it, we're going to right click, and it will change this biome. I know it's not really evident at the moment, but it will change it over to, yeah, you can see, actually that just changed colors. The swamp water did. Okay, and it is now pitch dark. So what we're going to do is, actually, let's go ahead and leave a little opening there. And we're going to go ahead and engage all of our spikes. And chances are there might be, yeah, I see some junk in these chests there. But we know that the item collection is working. And so then if we pop over here and we give it a minute, basically it's going to be a big AFK farm. So if I like, you know, if I stand back over here, we should have mobs spawning inside that area. Okay, so I guess bad news. They will not spawn here. The whites and stuff. I even changed it all over to swamp dirt, thinking, well, maybe if I change the block, that maybe they would spawn. But no, it's not. It's not really having any effect. Because like I checked the wiki and everything, and it said, you know, whites can spawn on. Whites are supposed to be able to spawn on any Darklands or in any Darklands biome. But they are refusing to spawn. Any Darklands mobs are refusing to spawn inside of this chamber. So even though it is not Darklands, but Between Lands. So that's fine. I guess we're going to change this one over to Plains then. Because it's set up for eventually what's going to be an Enderman farm. And then eventually we'll change it over to conveyors to gather up Enderman, and then also, you know, rotten flesh and bones and all that stuff. So we'll just take our creeping moss. This is a plains one, and we'll just right click, and that should change everything over to plains pretty quick. And we'll just leave the swamp dirt. It looks cool. And we'll just pop back out here, and we'll give it a second. We should have mobs spawning in there. Okay, I've had to do a bunch of finagling. It still isn't spawning mobs at a crazy good rate. You know, I've been getting a couple of skeletons and zombies here and there, but it's not very fast. You can see, I mean, that's all the loot that I've gotten. And this thing's been running for nearly an hour. It's actually quite pitiful. Like, this dimension is proving to be a bit of a letdown. But one thing that I did forget about, we have access to vector plates. I totally forgot the Dark Utilities was in this pack. So, let's go ahead and craft ourselves up a bit of these. That's probably not going to be enough. I'm going to have to go get more iron. But instead of using this swamp water, we're going to use vector plates instead. Because these, like the conveyors, they're going to be able to move Enderman. They're also going to allow mobs to spawn on top of them. And so the mobs are going to be able to spawn. Endermen are going to be able to spawn. They're going to be able to be sent down here. Now, one thing I have noticed, those spike traps, they work, but not all the time. But from what I've noticed so far, it seems to be like skeleton-based mobs that tend to be immune to it. But what we can do is we can put down our vector plates, and then if something gets on top of these, they're going to be sent off in that direction. So, and we can just kind of route these over. It is going to take a lot of these. It's going to take a lot more than what I made. Let me go make a bit more of these. Basically, I just need a bunch more iron. So I'll be back here in just a bit once I get enough vector plates to cover that floor, and we'll see how this does. Maybe this will be a little bit better, but like I said, I mean, I'm still suffering just not a lot of mobs spawning in that area. And I tested in my test world to see if punji sticks would have the same effect, like where certain mobs are like immune. And they do seem to still, I mean, there's certain mobs that aren't killed by them. Which is new to me. Like, I don't know. I'm going to see. I mean, I know there's more like mob killing methods coming up. I don't know. I mean, there's nothing from Dark Utilities at the moment. No traps or anything like that. But I know there's like some new mob killing methods coming up in the not so distant future. So hopefully we'll be able to come across something that will, you know, kill the mobs 100% of the time. Honestly, at this point, what I'll probably do is just, you know, manual kill. I'm still, what, 3 layers short? That's not terrible, I guess. Oh, I mean, like I said, I mean, they're not spawning densely enough. I mean, I can sit up here for a while, and it'll take about 10 minutes before anything spawns. Has been my experience with it so far. I mean, we just added a little bit more ground to, you know, spawnable ground to this by removing the last bit of the water. But I mean, I've never had a dark room, especially a chunk in size, that just doesn't spawn anything. I mean, I can get, you know, however far, it doesn't really seem to matter. I can just keep getting farther and farther away. I'm well within, you know, proper spawn range. There goes a demon cat and a witch. A couple witches, actually. See, it'll spawn in like little pairs like that every time. And if it would spawn consistently like that, that would be alright with me. But it's just on occasion. And honestly, I don't even know that these witches are going to die. Okay, there they go. The demon cats sometimes get killed, and then sometimes they'll do that. Like, I don't know. Like, the spikes aren't hurting them. Okay, yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's honestly about as good as it's going to get. I mean, there's nothing... I mean, I can continue lighting stuff up to, you know, keep going. But, I mean, we're already lit up, like, quite a few chunks out. And so I don't really think that's what's causing it. Because I can go out there and, I mean, I can find mobs spawning, you know, as I travel out a bit. Is that a zombie right there? Yeah, I mean, there's a zombie right there, but, I mean, it's like 1 or 2 mobs. It's not enough to really, like, stop an entire dark room from spawning mobs, I feel like. And, I mean, in this direction, I mean, it's far out that it's lit up, you know. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm just not having much in terms of mobs really spawning into there. So, I'm going to play around with it. I mean, if worse comes to worse, I'm going to move it to the overworld, because I can get better spawns in the overworld than this. And I mean, earlier, you know, at first I thought, well, maybe it's because there's other people on the server. Well, earlier at one point it got down to me and just Damien, and he's just in his base building and working in there. So I don't know. I mean, I have no clue what would be the cause of it. Because I've tried everything. I've tried covered, uncovered, you know, different types of interior, different biomes. Okay, it's been a little while since I last cut. That mob farm, I don't know, it's just, it wasn't producing, it wasn't producing stuff. So what I've done is I've actually set up a little area down here. It's going to be kind of hidden. It's basically just to kill mobs, and we may end up making something a little bit different later on. But I also did some testing with the saws, because I had originally planned on using those for a mob farm. But then there was the spikes, and I was like, well, this will work. But I did some testing with the saws, and they actually drop player-only drops, and they drop XP. They count as a player kill, which is really awesome. That's like, I mean, and plus they kill really fast, and they kill skeletons. So there is that as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up the mob farm using these. And what I want to do is I want to put our saws... It's actually... I've got vector plates right there, and we've got to pull the lights out. But what we're going to do is we're going to put our saws setting right here. And by the way, these vector plates, if you hold shift, you can move on them. But we'll put the saws setting right there. And then what I want to do is I want to put some axles just feeding into the side of those saws on each side. And originally I was thinking about having the water wheels stick out through the front of this, but actually I don't think they're going to fit nicely. Well, you know what? Maybe. Maybe so. And you know something I've never tried? I wonder... Oh, I don't know. Because then I would have... Like, if I put a water wheel... Yeah, see, I'm not going to be able to put it right there. It's going to need a 5x5. And it's not going to work out nicely. Because I was kind of wanting the water wheels kind of sticking out right here. So what I might do, in fact, is let's actually pull this up. By the way, under this front vector plate, I've got hoppers. Because they can collect items. And I will do, maybe, I'll play around in the hunting dimension in a test world more and see if I can get something sorted out for that. But as of right now, I mean, the mobs aren't really spawning. Right down here, I'm going to put additional hoppers. I'm going to put a hopper feeding over right there and a hopper feeding over into that hopper. I think is what I'm going to do. So the mobs will get pushed up and they'll kind of get stuck right here and get killed. Spiders technically can get through this, but what I may end up doing is adding saws at the bottom. If that becomes an issue, I'll add saws at the bottom to kill the spiders. Or I may just add spikes. You know what? Let's just do that. Because spikes can kill spiders, they just can't kill skeletons. So we'll just put... Oops. We'll just put that there, and one right there. So if anything small comes through, the spikes should be able to get it. And then we'll have the saws setting right there, and then we're going to have our axles connecting into those saws. And I actually wonder if I could run the water wheel directly into the saw like that. We're going to try it. So maybe we have an axle come out to like right there, and then we'll trim this back. And of course I'll clean all this up so that it kind of blends in. We're not going to be able to see behind the water wheel. We're not going to be able to see the, you know, the mob farm and stuff like that. We'll just be able to see, say, the water wheel setting in there and kind of spinning. So there we go. Waterwheel is down. Oops. And then we'll bring out the other side as well. No, this one. And then Waterwheel sitting right there. And I can still get around behind that and everything. And then let me get just a couple buckets of water real quick. And we'll get those running. And we're going to see, I think they can plug directly into the saw and still run. I don't think they have to be routed through a gearbox first. If so, I'll just have to move them over, which shouldn't be an issue. But this actually could look pretty cool, I think. So then we'll have, we'll just put the water right, maybe not right there. We're going to put it right there and flowing off in this direction. And there we go. Yep, the saw is running. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful sight. And then a bucket right there controlling that water wheel. And there we go. We have ourselves kind of a mob farm. And then I'm going to go ahead and just add some cobble here to kind of block this off a little bit. And then we're going to break that off and we'll add the last little bit of cobble, right up here. And then our dark wood. Okay. And then we have to access the items that are going to be coming out of this. So right down here, there's our hopper. So we'll just bring the items over like that. And then I'll just kind of block this back up. And then we're going to have an upper. Two uppers, I'd say. To bring it up, maybe even 3 would be ideal. So I actually didn't need those gearboxes. No reason to craft those. And then we would just have like a chest here that all the items would come out into. And then I can just block off the rest of that with like cobble and kind of hide all that away. And I think it's going to look pretty nice once it's done. Now, we do need to break off the lights that are down here. And these vector plates will move items as well. So they are quite effective. And they'll also move XP orbs and all that. That room seems to be dark. The only thing that's letting light in right now is actually right over here. On the sides of this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and block all of this off. And it's really not letting a whole lot of light in. It's basically letting light in around the kill system. And not really anywhere else. So I mean, I guess it's not really a huge concern. Okay, now let me craft a couple uppers. Like maybe 3 of them, I'm thinking. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, I whipped up a couple uppers real quick. I also lit up some of the area around here. I'm just trying to cut down on spawns a little bit. But what we're going to do, we've got an chest, an upper. I had to drop this, by the way. The redstone was shutting off the hoppers. So upper, and then we're going to do chest, and then another upper, and then we'll put the... Yeah, we'll put the gold chest right there. That'll be fine. Built into the ground a little bit there. And you know what? One of these is getting shut off by redstone. Okay, so I'm going to shift it back just a little bit. So the gold chest is sitting right there. And I mean, you can see... That didn't come from this. But you can see we've already gotten like some bones, rotten flesh, and some armor. So we do know from this is all just from the saws. It is producing player-only drops. Now, chances are there's probably a little bit of XP down in there. I mean, it's not generating... There's actually quite a few people on, like 5 people at the moment. So it's not generating like a ton of mobs right now, but already it's produced more in a very, very short period of time than our spawner system did in the hunting dimension. So, I think it's definitely worth it to change over. Okay, I just heard it kill a couple creepers, and we just got some gunpowder, and we got some bones. It is producing mobs, and it's producing them at a better rate than we were getting in the hunting dimension. So, and it's something that we can kind of just leave running passively. And one nice thing about getting the player kill drops is like this stuff that's kind of junk. I've been holding on to this stuff and repairing it because we can actually use the Stoke Crucible, and we're going to get some free metals out of it. So we'll actually be able to produce, some free metals. We'll get the mob drops, the gunpowder. That spawn room is big enough to create Enderman, and Endermen do not teleport away when they're being killed by the saw. So we'll be able to get that as well. And it's just something that we can kind of have running passively, and I can kind of check it every so often, empty out the chest, And then later on, you know, we can automate getting the items out of the chest. So, by the way, this right here, this is a failed design that I've got to tear down. I was originally doing an Astral Sorcery sand generator to see if I could set that up, but it doesn't work in this pack. It's disabled, so we're not going to be able to use that to produce sand. And aquamarine as well, but namely sand was what I was wanting out of that, but no luck. But yeah, I think this will be a little bit more beneficial to us because of the fact that it is literally right in the middle of the base, so it's going to be able to run most of the time. I mean, it's not breaking any records with mob production, but there are 4 of us on right now. Damian Reeves, Cy Raven, Sneaky Seraphim, and myself. So the mobs will just kind of, you know, steadily trickle in and whatnot. But as the base expands and as it gets lit up, and as I find like caves and stuff underground, maybe once we get the cave illuminator, we can really cut down on a lot of that from Astral Sorcery. So we can clear out a lot of the caves. And like I said, it is going to drop XP, and I don't know that we have any way to collect XP at the moment. I mean, if we had like an experience pylon from Cyclic, but those aren't available right now. You know, we could use something like that, but as of right now, that's not available to us. So maybe in the next age or something, we'll see. And I don't think there's anything really from mob grinding utilities or dark utilities or anything like that for collecting XP at the moment. So, but that'll be fine. That will be okay. And then later on, of course, we can upgrade to like Cursed Earth. We can throw some spawners down there and have those pumping mobs out. I mean, the mainframe is down. We really just have to expand on it as we go. I mean, right now it's not producing a ton of mobs, but it's producing mobs passively. And usually I'm working like over here or over there a lot right now. So that'll work. That'll work for now. And hopefully we get some like ender dust and stuff dropping passively as well. So I'm going to pull off the mob farm thing. I really wish the hunting dimension would work, because if I recall, the mob drops like automatically have Fortune 1 applied to them. But I don't know. There's just no mob spawning. I know Wega popped in there earlier because his portal and my portal are connected. He popped in there earlier and said there was a few mobs in the mob spawner area that's like left. It's basically just, you know, cobble on the ground. But I haven't... I mean, I popped in there earlier and there wasn't anything in there still. We'll go take a look real quick out of curiosity, but... I mean, it's still all dark in there, but yeah, see, look at that. There's like nothing in here. So, I don't know. I have no clue. Like, I mean, that's still all spawnable area, but there's just not much anything spawning in there. So, this dimension was kind of a bust. I don't know how much we'll use it. I mean, honestly, if we, like, make chunks and go out and kill the mobs ourselves, like, past this point, like, out in the darkness, it seems to be alright, usually. But for the most part, like, as far as making a spawner, it just didn't work out. Did not work out very well. So, I don't know. That's where Wega was starting to set up a little base. But yeah, I actually come out... He had his hunting portal set up before I did, so when I come out his base. So really quickly, if you want to see where Wega's base is at, because he's been working on it quite a bit, I think the roads are all pretty well the same, you know, off in that direction. But over here, he's got a ton of animals, absolute ton of animals, something that I really need to do, and I haven't yet. And then up here, this just leads up to what's going to be, I believe, a balcony area. But then right over here, he's got his Waterwheel and everything set up. There's buffalo all over the place. Like, I think they got loose on him. And then back in here, he's got... There's a buffalo standing on top of the grill. He's like, cook me, please. But yeah, this is like his house. And he is he's working on Between Lands stuff. And then over here, he's got his blood magic and sorting area. And then right through here is a road that connects over to my road. So there's this bridge, and this is actually where I want to build the next watchtower, is over on this side. So, and then the road connects over, and I've got to connect this road up and over to this side of the base as well. So, but yeah, we live pretty close. Pretty close. I don't mind my portal linking over to there. I could probably link the portal, kind of like with a nether portal or something, but that's fine right now. So, anyways, I'm going to let this start building up, and next episode we'll take a look and see where it's gotten to, you know, in the course of between episodes. Because, I mean, right now it's not generating a whole lot, but like I said, it's more of like a passive farm at the moment. So, I mean, it's not churning out a ton of drops, but once we upgrade it a bit more, hopefully it will be churning out a lot more. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Sorry about the issue with the hunting dimension. At least we had a little bit of fun in there. I had fun with the repeller, if nothing else. Also, I know that this episode is going to be coming out late today. That's just due to me having to scrap everything, like halfway in, and be like, oh well, got to redo it all. So sorry. But anyways, next episode we will be back in the Twilight Forest for another round of bosses. We'll be taking on the Knights Who Say Knee, and then the Urgast, I guess. Probably be what we're working on. So. We'll get into there next episode, and I'm also going to set up some crafting tables so we can knock out all those biomalyzers, compasses, all that stuff. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you guys next time. So until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.